Well, hello everyone. Happy New Year to you. I hope you are doing well and you are blessed today. I am really excited because this is January. We're at the top of the year, and I wanted to come on today and talk to you just for a little bit about your health, getting ready, getting started for the new year. So, January Jumpstart is what I'm calling this. And what it is getting a jumpstart on your health, making sure that everything is in order. You are ready to go. You are checking on things. You are making sure everything is in order for 2025. So here we are in the month of January. My question for you is, what is your plan for your health? Do you have a health plan? You know, I went to the doctor today, and actually I had my physical today. And one of the things they asked me was, do you have a plan in place, like a DNR in case of an emergency? Do you have a plan? And every time they ask me that, I'm like, no. And so it's something that I have to think about. And we all should think about that, because at that moment, you don't want someone else making a decision for you that you didn't want. So think about that. What is your plan for your health? If you don't have a plan, most of the time you won't do anything until it's a problem. My thoughts, prevention is the key. A lot of times people say, what I don't know won't hurt me, but it really will. What you don't know will hurt you. Many times I hear people say that, but you know, in 2024, I lost 4 friends. I lost 4 friends. So this is really important to me. I lost 4 friends, and they were all in their 60s. I'm 62, and these friends were all in their 60s. And, you know, when you lose someone like that, it really makes you think about where you are and really being mindful of what you need to do. So my goal is to share with you and to encourage you to think about your health outside of waiting until something happens or you're not feeling good, you can't get your blood pressure down, your blood sugar is rising. Before that happens, I want you to really consider what you need to do for your health. So January is a perfect time. One of the things I want to encourage you to do as it pertains to the doctor is to follow up with your doctor. And don't be afraid to talk to your doctor. A lot of times people don't like to ask questions. Well, this is what he said, and that's it. What he says goes. But this is your body. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And also get a second opinion. You know, the doctor, you feel like, well, if I do that, the doctor's going to be mad at me. This is your body, and you have a right to know what happens with your body and make decisions. January is a perfect time to get started. Number 1 is getting a physical, and that is what I had done today. I went in, I had my physical done, I had my lab work done, and I'm all set. You know, ever since COVID, it's taking longer to get appointments. It seems like you're like 6 months in before you can get an appointment, 3 to 6 months. So I encourage you to start now. If you have not set up any appointments, start doing that now. My appointment today, in addition to my appointment today, they said 6 months follow up. I made my appointment for July. So it's important that you start setting your appointments, even if they're a little further in. Get started today. A few things about your doctor's appointment that I want to share with you. As I said, don't be afraid to ask questions. This is your body, and you have a right to know what's going on with your body. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Number 2 is don't be afraid to refuse a medication. You know, a lot of times our doctors may order something. You may have high blood pressure. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't want that. Or you try it and you notice that you're having a reaction to it. Call your doctor and let them know. So that, and I always say, take that off my record, or put on there that I have an allergy to that. Because a lot of times, sometimes they leave it on your record and it follows you. So make sure that if it's an allergy, that they put that on as an allergy. that you're allergic to it. So don't be afraid to say something is not working for you. There are so many medications out there that they can switch to something else. If the doctor is impatient with you, don't be afraid to look for another doctor. You know, a lot of times, if they are rushing you along and don't have time to listen to you and you get flustered about it, don't be afraid to go ahead and look for another doctor. A lot of times you can make an appointment with the doctor to establish that person as your doctor. You can ask questions. It's just an appointment where you sit and talk to the doctor. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't fire your other doctor until you establish the new doctor. Then you call them and send for your records to be transferred to the new doctor. But you have a right to do that. And if you don't feel comfortable with someone, don't be afraid to change up. Another thing, when you are establishing a new doctor, pay attention to the atmosphere in the doctor's office. How is the cleanliness of the doctor's office? What is the atmosphere? The attitudes of the people that are serving you. You know, pay attention, because most of the time at the beginning, how you're served, how you're talked to, trust me, that's the same flow that they have in that office. So pay attention to that. I look at how clean the tables are, you know, in the examining bed. I'm looking at all of that. I'm looking at the baseboards, how clean they are. Is the floor swept? Is it dirty in there? Is it running over with garbage? All of that. Pay attention, because that matters to me. So pay attention to the professionalism, to the atmosphere. Is it a nice environment? Are the people friendly? Do you feel good when you're in there? So pay attention to all of that. After your physical, I encourage you to review your labs. Now, a lot of times I hear a lot of my friends and family now know me good enough to know that if I ask them, so how'd your appointment go? So how was your labs? And if they say, I guess they were okay, they know what I'm going to say. A lot of times my friends and family will say, hey, I'm sending you my labs. Tell me what you think. Because they're now looking into their labs. Don't ignore your lab work. When you get your lab work done, don't ignore it. Look at the red on your labs. If they're looking green, everything is looking good and looking green, that's good. But even the green, pay attention to how far in range it is. One of the tests is the EGFR. It can be in the green, but it could be close to the red. So pay attention. Look at all of your labs. Take out time. You know, most people have a My Chart now. So you can go in. Sometimes you get your labs even before the doctor calls you. So pay attention. Look through Google. You know, you can look online and find out what the normal lab values are. And then ask the question, what does it mean when you have a low hemoglobin? What do I need to do? And then you can start working on it. Be an advocate for yourself. So pay attention to your labs. If they say your cholesterol is 204, anything in the red, ask what is the normal lab value for cholesterol? What does it mean if my cholesterol is elevated? Don't look for the doctor to say everything is good, because sometimes the doctor will say everything looks good, especially, I'm not saying older doctors, but sometimes the older doctors are like, you're good, you know, and they don't say anything when you are kind of moving towards diabetes or kind of moving towards cholesterol issues. They may say you're good, so pay attention to your labs. It happened to me. My A1C was 5.6, and my doctor said, oh, you're fine. Yes, I was fine, but I was close. I was moving towards 5.7. 5.7 is going toward prediabetes. So I wasn't coming back for another 6 months. In that 6-month period, if I hadn't paid attention to that, I would have kept eating the way I was eating. But when I noticed that it was on the high side, I said, wait a minute, I need to pull back on some carbs. I need to start switching up some things, because a lot of times they'll wait until you are in pre-diabetes and say, hey, now you're gonna have to, looks like you're about to go on some medicine. I'm gonna have to put you on something. So don't wait. Pay attention to where you are. Next, be an advocate for yourself. Your numbers, certain numbers I want to share with you to watch. One is your blood count, your hemoglobin and hematocrit. And you pay attention to that. If it's a little low, if you are a little anemic, are you taking a multivitamin with iron? You know, pay attention to those things. Cholesterol, if your cholesterol is high. The HDL, I call it the heavenly cholesterol, which is the good cholesterol. That should be high. The higher it is, the better. Then the LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, it should be low. You want that to be as low as possible. So pay attention to those. Pay attention also to the diabetes number, which is the A1C. The A1C should be less than 5.7. It should be 5.6 or less. So when it starts going up to 5.7, you're heading towards pre-diabetes. So watch that number. And a big one that a lot of times we don't watch is the EGFR. And I've talked about this on another video. The EGFR is the kidney function. And the kidney function, a lot of times doctors don't talk about it. It has to be less than 60 to be going into kidney problems. When it's less than 60, but if you're 64, if you're 68, guess what? The doctor may or may not even mention it to you. But in the 60s, you're still on the verge of problems with your kidneys. So the question is, what's going on? What's making my kidney function low? Let me give you an example. So for me, my kidneys were always in the hundreds, 101, and all of a sudden it started going down. It was in the 90s, and I didn't pay much attention to it, and because it was in the normal range. And all of a sudden, it was in the 80s, and then it went to 71. And I hadn't paid attention to it, but my doctor was saying, you're good, oh, everything looks good. But I had been on a diuretic, and I had been on a diuretic for 30 years for my blood pressure, just one pill daily. And what was happening, that diuretic was affecting my kidneys because it's pulling off more fluid from me. And I finally asked my doctor, I said, hey, wait a minute. Have you noticed my EGFR is going down? And she said, oh, what is it? And she looked and she was like, let's see what it was. I came there 6 years ago. She said it was 101. Then it went to 93. Then it went to 89. Now it's 71. I think it was 71. And she said, ooh. And I'm like, ooh. What point were you going to say something to me? But I started reading up on it, and that's what made me pay attention to it. So that was a question for me. At what point would you say something to me? Were you going to wait until I get to 59 and it was abnormal? Then, hey, Brenda, your kidneys are not functioning well. So at that point, I told her, take me off of the diuretic. And she was ready to put me on another one. I said, no, I don't want a diuretic. Find something else for me that is not a diuretic. She took me off the diuretic, and within 6 months, it went from 71 or 73 to now it's 91. And at my age, it should be at least 89. So my EGFR, it went back up. So you have to really be mindful of what's going on with your body. Pay attention. Don't ignore your labs. Another lab, the last one I have, is the CRP, which is the inflammation in your body. The CRP, if it's greater than 10, you're at risk. More risk for heart attacks, So being mindful of that. Rheumatoid arthritis is another one where your CRP will be elevated. Another thing I found out is when I had COVID, mine went up to 7. And as I started reading, I read that it can, because it's an inflammation in your body, it can bring it up. So after COVID, it went back down. So you want it to be less than 1 milligram. You don't want it greater than 10. With the CRP, just know that when you limit or avoid inflammatory foods like refined carbs, fried foods, red meat, processed meats, that helps to reduce your CRP. So focus on eating more leafy green veggies, nuts, fatty fish, whole grains, and that helps to improve your CRP. Okay, so in addition to a physical, just a few areas to be mindful of for women is gynecology appointment, making one yearly. For men, a prostate check. For both men and women, dental cleaning twice a year. It's important because what's going on in your mouth can affect your heart. So always making sure you get your dental cleanings. Having your eyes checked, especially as we get older, glaucoma, cataracts, all of these things. Another thing with the eyes, as you get older, it's good to use some eye drops. If you've ever seen people, their eyes are so red, it's because a lot of times the mucous membranes in your eyes are getting dry. I went to the eye doctor and my eye doctor told me, Brenda, you need to start using eye drops to clear your eyes, because keep your eyes lubricated, because as you get older, your eyes dry out a little bit. So that's just a little extra tip. Having your eyes checked yearly is important. And then a mammogram for women, at least 1 to 2 years, making sure between 1 and 2 years. I go yearly. And then a bone density check for women every 5 years. So this year I'm having both of those. Next week, bone density and mammogram. So I'm getting things checked off. My physical has been done. My mammogram and my bone density are being done next week. My gynecology, I did that in December. So I'm getting things done so that everything is checked out. It's important to do. And then colonoscopy every 10 years, unless the doctor indicates that you need to see it sooner. These are just a few things that I think are important for us to check on our health. Getting started in January is the perfect time. Start scheduling ahead of time so that you can get those appointments in. Don't wait until, if you want something in March, wait till February, because you're not going to get it. They're going to tell you it's 6 months out, it's 3 months out before you can get in. So I encourage that. Few other tips that I want to give you to get started is, number 1, eating a well-balanced diet this year. Protein, fat, and a carb with each meal. Eating a well-balanced diet. You can really focus in on like the Mediterranean diet. That is the closest to a heart-healthy diet, the Mediterranean diet. Second is getting at least 30 minutes of exercise daily, trying to reach for 10,000 steps a day. And then next is drinking water, making sure you're getting your water. I keep mine close by. Making sure you get in at least half of your body weight. If not that, you can do 8-ounce glasses of water in if you can't get as much as a half of your body weight. So getting that done, getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. All of these things help to create a healthy life for you. 7 to 8 hours of sleep daily. Doing some kind of stress relief, sometimes in the morning or in the evening. Get on the floor, stretch, pull, allow your body to just stretch a little more than you had been. Do some range of motion. Do some meditation in the morning when you get up. Take some time just to do some breathing. You'd be surprised at how breathing helps to decrease your blood pressure. So A multivitamin with minerals is important. Taking vitamin D3 with K2 is important, and a probiotic for gut health. You can also, sometimes you can get it in the yogurt, but having some kind of probiotic for your stomach. If you have inflammation, try turmeric. That's a good one. And one of my favorites is black seed oil. The taste is not that good, but I'm used to it and I just take mine straight, drink it, and follow it with something else. But black seed oil, it helps with so many different things. Immunity, it helps your organs, build your body up, especially because I'm a school nurse and I deal with children every day. I have to have my defense in check, in order. So my vitamin D3, B vitamin is good as well, and my black seed oil. So these are just a few things that I want to encourage you to work on. Take some time. Your health is your wealth. That's what we hear all the time. Our health is our wealth. And if you take care of yourself, if you start now implementing the things that I've talked about, then it won't catch you by surprise. If something comes up in your blood work and you start getting sick or anything starts happening, from the time you visit your doctor, he can catch it before it's out of hand. So I encourage you to get started setting your appointments for the year. Even if they're 6 months out, get started today. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time here with me, I encourage you to come back. I encourage you to leave a comment. Let me know how you enjoyed this video. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're not a member, if you're not a part of our community, hit the like button now. I'm waiting. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will be back to share more. Take care.